Hello. Hardwood holly cuttings. It's October, autumn, which is a great time of year to take hardwood holly cuttings. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to take hardwood holly cuttings. It's relatively easy, but there are 5 or 6 little subtle points which you can include to make the task slightly more successful. Now, when I've done this in the past, I've gone for a success rate of somewhere between 50 and 60%. So if you're doing this for a hedge, double up on the number of cuttings you're going to take. I've got a holly cutting taking kit here in front of me. I'll talk through that in a moment. But the first point is, if you are doing this because you want holly berries, you need to have both male and female plants. So do make sure that you take cuttings from both a male and a female plant. The female carries the berries, so that's easy to identify and try and find one nearby, because there must be one for those to have been pollinated which doesn't have berries on it, and take cuttings from both. So that's the first tip if you want berries. Now, what have I got in my holly cutting taking kit? I've got some loppers. Hardwood is sometimes difficult to cut through, so I've got loppers. I've also got some secateurs. These are for taking off some of the branches with. You'll see all this played out in a moment. Obviously, sharp leaves, spiky leaves, so I've got some good thick gloves. I've actually got a potato peeler here from inside the kitchen. You'll see what that's all about in a minute, but it's one of those things that increases the chances of success. Hormone rooting powder and a dibber, a stick basically. All of these things I'll put links to in the description box below this video. Here is a trug. It's got water in it. That's another tip. Whilst you're taking your cuttings and selecting your cuttings, get them straight into a trug of water. And here are the 2 tubs that I'm going to plant my cuttings into. And in those tubs, simply topsoil. It doesn't need to be fancy compost. Topsoil that you've dug out of a hole in the garden will do the job. I've seen this done, and I've done it myself, where you just put a spade in the ground, lever the spade back and shove the cutting in the crack, pull the spade out and stamp it down, and it works. So topsoil out the garden will do the job. So we're now going to take some cuttings, gather them up in the trug, and then we're going to put them through a process which you do before you plant them. Let's go and get some cuttings. So, loppers and secateurs, a trug with water, gloves, a thick coat, and the parent plant. Now this is a female plant. It's covered in berries. You treat the cuttings for both male and female in exactly the same way, but you do need both for berries. And now what I'm going to do is get into this hedge here and try and find some nice specimens to take cuttings from. I'm going to avoid branches with berries on. My theory is that those berries might have taken some energy out of those branches. So I'll go for these, which we'll kind of call virgin branches. Just take branches with a head on it like that, as many leaves as are on it, don't worry about that, and stick it in your trug. Take double what you need and just get loads, and then we'll take them down there and we'll process them. Whilst I'm doing this, I'll share with you an interesting fact about holly. Did you know that holly only has prickly leaves up to a certain height? And that's because it's evolved this self-defense mechanism to stop it being grazed by deer. So if you go higher up in the tree, the leaves are not prickly. Isn't that fascinating? Another fascinating fact for you on these hollies: these berries that this tree produces are food for the 5 native thrush species. The thrush is a bird species, and these are the food for all 5 native UK thrush species. And the missel thrush will claim a tree as its own territory and protect it with its life. So there we go. This bush could be the territory of a missel thrush. So there are our holly cuttings, safely installed in a trug of water. I might still need these. I will definitely now need the rooting powder, the dibber and the potato peeler. So let's just do a couple of these to demonstrate what you need to do. So here is one of the cuttings. First thing I'm going to do, secateurs, get rid of a lot of this side vegetation. Not necessary, and in actual fact will probably drop off anyway. So let's take a few more leaves off near the base. And there you can see a branch, a tip, and I've removed some leaves, and what I'll do is I'll just tidy it up by cutting it just below, at a diagonal, just below a leaf node. There it is. Now, one of the tips here now is to scar the bottom end of this, and that's what the potato peeler is for. Can you see? I've just scarred that. I've just gone along it with the potato peeler. What that does is it opens up the edge of the green on the outside. And these are actually not hardwood, these are softwood, but you would do exactly the same for hardwood. They would be darker, they would be last season's wood, but these are exactly the same. You've scarred it and you've opened up the surface area, and that gives more opportunity for roots to start growing, because that's where they'll grow from, that scar tissue. They may also grow from where we've removed these leaves from. The next thing is hormone rooting powder. You can dip it in the water if you like, just to make it more sticky, and then just cover it to give it a good covering of hormone rooting powder. That will start the ball rolling. So there we are, there's our cutting ready to be planted. It's important to use a dibber. If you just shove that in the soil without a dibber, the soil will, with an abrasive action, remove all that rooting powder. What's the point of having it? So, nice deep hole with your dibber to the bottom of the pot and place it in. Probably get 4 or 5 in this pot. I'm not going to plant it in yet, it's in the hole ready. Let's just do a couple more of these. So again, reiterate, take a few of these leaves off. Cut it at a diagonal just before the leaf node. Scar it with a potato peeler, can you see? I'll just take a few more leaves off. Wet it. Hormone rooting powder. Again, you can get this off Amazon. There's a link in the description box. Dib a nice hole, nice deep hole for it in the soil, and then place it in the hole. Eventually you'll have enough in there, 4 or 5 or 6 if you want, in one pot, and just plant them in. Make contact with the bottom of the stalk with soil. So that, now, those are 2 cuttings taken. Now, another tip now. It's going to take 12 months, you've got to be patient. It doesn't happen overnight. And it may appear that these die. They may drop all the leaves. The twigs may go brown. And you might think these are dead. Be patient. Wait at least 12 months, because I've done these when I thought all is lost and the twig above the ground has lost all its leaves. It's brown and it looks dead, and I've even cut through it and it looks dead. But then, miraculously, at the base, new holly. So do be patient. It's a 12-month job, this. If you can't wait 12 months, you'll have to go and buy some. Another tip now is this has to be put somewhere sheltered from the wind. You don't want those rocking around in the wind, because if you're rocking around in the wind too much, it can damage those little tiny roots that are starting to form at the bottom. Keep it watered, but don't overwater it. It doesn't want to be sodden so that it goes rotten. And also, if you water it too much, you'll wash that rooting powder away. Now, if you think that they are moving around too much, you can take the top off. It won't do it any harm. Think about it though, think about the maths. If I go and buy a holly plant from a nursery, or even a bare root plant online, a holly plant's probably going to cost me £5 or £6. If I do 100 of these for a hedge, I've saved £500, so it's worth doing if you've got the time to wait. So there we go, a demonstration of how to take holly cuttings. You can do this method with both softwood and hardwood, it doesn't make any difference. And I would bargain on getting around 60% success rate. I hope you found that interesting. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments box below this video. I will give you an update. I'm going to do a few more, and I'll give you an update on these as we go over the next 12 months. But these will largely now be put in the corner of my compound, out of the wind, and forgotten about. And I get on with other things in the garden. Hardwood, holly cuttings. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.